we just asked this question. If I gave the Raiders a mulligan on Antonio Brown trade, would they still take Antonio Brown?
Well, they didn't give up that much. I would think yes, they would. The helmet thing is behind him. It seems like the feet will heal. So he'll go into this season. He doesn't need training camp anyway. I mean, maybe he needed to learn their offense a little bit. But, yeah, I think they still would have.
If I gave the Steelers a mulligan on trading Antonio Brown?
Well, I wrote before they made the trade that they should do it even if they get a bag of footballs that aren't inflated, Dan. They needed to get rid of him. It was a marriage that was breaking apart. And
well, what happened though, Ed? Was there a moment that something specific, or sometimes you become the underdog story and then you're the favorite, and then you become something different than what people thought you were?
Something changed last year, Dan, and I don't know what it was. I mean, his whole demeanor from the spring into the training camp, and a lot of people didn't see it. We saw it, and it started coming out about the furniture, the ticket going over 100 miles an hour on a road in Pittsburgh, some of the other stuff, and it just it was like a volcano that finally erupted in that last week.
What did you think of Ben Roethlisberger apologizing for maybe ruining a friendship with Antonio Brown?
Yeah, I don't know how close a friendship that really was. It was more professional, I think, Dan. And I think he was just trying to put everything behind him, trying to, throw Antonio a bone there and saying, hey, I didn't, I'm sorry I said it. And then it came back to bite him when Antonio responded.
But, Ben blamed Antonio Brown or publicly called him out. And when did that relationship start to fracture?
Last season, I think, Dan. I mean, like I said, it was never friendship, if you will. It was more professional, and the two were on the same page professionally. He called him out. That's a little strong. He said something on a radio show that he told Antonio he should have run a flat route there in the end zone in Denver. And, Tom Brady's never said anything like that, or other quarterbacks have never said anything like that, right?
Yeah, but he threw it to a defensive lineman. So, I mean, you can blame Antonio Brown, but I don't know. It just felt like Ben was not taking the heat, and he kind of pushed it off to Antonio Brown. That was my take from that, Ed.
But, Dan, if you've been around him, he takes the heat a lot. He takes responsibility a lot. And so he gets a pass there because he's always been honest on those kinds of things.
Aren't you bummed out, though, you don't have Antonio Brown to cover anymore?
Not at all. Not at all.
No?
Not at all. No.
But
no.
He gave you content.
He talked once a week on Fridays. My day off was on Fridays. I never dealt with him. He verbally accosted me in training camp for whatever reason. I have no idea. No, I'm glad to see him gone.
How nervous were you when he verbally accosted you?
I wasn't nervous. I was surprised. I was talking with Marcus Gilbert, the big tackle the Steelers had, about his newborn. And Antonio didn't like something I tweeted that he had, left practice. And turns out Mike Tomlin allowed him to leave practice, and I corrected that. But he didn't like that, and he came over and started calling me names.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.